In the second chapter of our adventure in Bolivia, we start off in the highest capital city on earth, with its famous witches' markets, a cemetery filled with beautiful murals, and a short cable car ride to the actual world's highest city, which hosts the unlikeliest of wrestlers.
We leave behind the bustling Andean metropolis and head to the highest navigable lake on Earth, also the largest in the continent. Here we head to an island known as the birthplace of the Incan civilization. On our journey traversing the island, we are joined by a furry friend.
We spend the night in a remote village on the island. The following day, hiking up to ancient ruins. It is here in the significant and tranquil setting I surprise Miranda with a very big, important question.
Our journey takes us back to the opposite end of this breathtaking island where we board our ferry. Potential complications make us question whether or not we'll be able to cross the next border. Join us in Bolivia, La Paz, and Isla del Sol on Lake Titicaca.
We continue from our previous video where we crossed into the surreal landscape of the Bolivian Altiplano and Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat. Alright, good to be here. Look at this. Getting in at 6:30 in the morning. So we're here in La Paz, Bolivia. This is one of the capitals of Bolivia. It shares that with Sucre. It's actually the highest municipal capital in the world at 3,650 meters high above sea level. Altitude-wise, we are really tired. We've just come off a 9.5-hour bus ride. So we're going to have a little bit of a rest up. And then later on today, we're going to explore a bit of La Paz. So it's a Sunday here in La Paz, which means the mercados, the markets are open, and we're just wandering around looking for some food. There's a lot of food. There's a lot of everything here. It's crazy. So how's your drink, Miranda?
It's interesting.
This is a traditional drink. What's inside of it?
It looks like it was a dried peach or something.
Yeah, that's what she said. She said durazno, so that's peach and
it's like spiced a little bit.
Cinnamon.
Some spice, like cinnamon. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it's really delicious.
Nice.
Very refreshing.
I'm gonna try some more things. How's the walk up the stairs? Yeah, that's a lot of altitude. Not a lot of oxygen.
We are currently on the Linares in La Paz, and we are heading towards El Mercado de Los Brujas, which are also known as the witches' markets.
Alright, so what do you got there?
I've got some api,
Which is?
it's got corn, purple corn, cinnamon, cloves. I think something similar to the peach drink we had this morning, but purple corn.
And it's served warm, right?
Yes, it's a hot drink. It's really interesting, yeah.
I give it a try.
It's quite good, you should try it.
Alrighty, Miranda is eating healthy again.
I couldn't resist. I saw someone else got pancakes on my dishes, so.
We're about to do a walking tour with Red Cap Tours, and we're going to go out to some of the outside places from the center of town. And also, as well, we may have the opportunity to see some of the Cholita wrestling later on this evening. What that is basically some of these female wrestlers getting all dressed up and wrestling in a traditional style here in Bolivia. It's something unique to this area, so we'll see if we get a chance to go into that. So we're here in the Cementerio General de La Paz, the General Cemetery of La Paz. It was originally built here in 1826, and it originally housed the wealthier Spanish people that lived here in the city. The indigenous people were not allowed to bury their dead here initially. These days it's all changed. It's actually the only official cemetery or public cemetery in La Paz, even though there are some unofficial ones up around the mountains here. Now, how can you put a whole city's population in one cemetery when people just continue to die? That's got a lot to do with the Aymara, the indigenous beliefs, the superstitious beliefs that you only look after the dead for 5 years. You mourn them for 5 years, and then after that 5 years, essentially you're supposed to let them go. And at that point, they're released from the cemetery. So you basically pay a fee for those 5 years, like a tax. And then at that point, though, what they do is they actually dig up the skulls of the people. They call it the ñanitas. And it's a superstitious belief that if you purchase a ñanita, you keep it in your house, that ñanita will give you good luck or good health. A lot of the ñanitas are purchased based on their profession during their lifetime. Ñanita actually means small nose due to the fact that skulls have no nose. So it's a common term used here for affection for people with small noses as well. And the higher professions like doctors and lawyers actually fetch the highest prices. So it's a very, very odd tradition for us coming from a different background. But it all has to do with the fact that the indigenous people used to mummify their dead and the Spanish used to burn them, basically. So they basically wanted to keep something of their ancestors, and that was one way of being able to do that. One of the interesting things about the cemetery as well is that they have all these murals there, and it goes to a tradition that they each year they hold a competition that leads up to the Day of the Dead, which is the 2nd of November, or the 1st and 2nd of November, and they basically choose the best murals to represent the cemetery itself, and it's an international competition, so there are artists from Mexico and all other parts of, I believe, Latin America, maybe other parts of the world as well. But one of the traditions of the Day of the Dead as well is that they come here to spend time with their beloved ancestors within that 5-year period, of course, and they bring their favorite foods, their favorite drinks, alcohols, cigarette, all that sort of stuff, and pretty much have a party in the cemetery. It's kind of bizarre from an outside perspective, but it's a very, very interesting culture. So this is the first of the cable cars, known as the Red Line, which was implemented in 2014. They now have 9 lines, and in the next few years are expecting to add 3 more, making it 12, which is the largest cable car system out of any city in the world. It's all Austrian design, so they have Austrian engineers come in. In fact, they come in once a year to make maintenance on these cable cars, and they're all powered by renewable energy. So they have solar panels on the top of every one of these cars. Pretty cool. So we're up at Alto, which is technically the highest city in the world. There are higher villages, but as far as cities go, this is the highest. It is actually quite a poor region up here, unfortunately. A lot of indigenous people that are in a lot of poverty, which unfortunately means that there is a higher crime rate here than down in La Paz. And we're about to go into the open flea market, which is the prime spot for pickpockets. So our guide was just telling us about some of the different scams they use to try pickpocket people. Always good if you do come up here to keep your belongings safe.
Okay. So first of all, who's Pachamama? Mother Earth. Yeah, Mother Nature, actually, she's the whole planet, she's the whole globe. So guys, Pachamama is the main goddess in our Andean cosmovision. So of course, indigenous people, we know that as long as she is happy, then of course we will have a happy life, right? So in order to make her happy, we have different offerings for her. And of course, in the market, you will find different people as well. The first people that you will find, of course, is the ladies selling all these products. Guys, we call them chifleras, okay? That's the real name. They are not witches, they are not brujas, you know? The Spaniards, they start calling these people like this because they couldn't understand well what they were doing with all this stuff, you know? But guys, the knowledge that these ladies have is a knowledge that goes from generation to generation. You know, their moms were doing this, then they will teach their daughters how to do it, and so on and so on. So the knowledge that they have is a knowledge about natural medicine. Actually, this is the very first stop if indigenous people get sick, you know. They will come here, talk to the lady, depends on their symptoms, the lady will make different kind of preparation using different stuff like herbs and all of that. Then you just need to make an infusion, drink that, and of course that's part of the traditional medicine, okay? Guys, imagine how superstitious we are that we have a whole street full of yatiris. So behind every single door, there is a witch doctor, a shaman, okay? And guys, to become one of these guys, there is different ways for you. I will tell you the three most important ones. The first one, you need to be struck by lightning. Yes, we believe that Pachamama works together with Illapa, the god of thunder. So if Pachamama has chosen you to work for her, then she will tell Illapa. Illapa will send the lightning to you. Of course, you will die in the strike, you know. Then Pachamama and Illapa will rebuild your body, and this is how you get all these healing powers to help people through Pachamama. I know it's very hard to believe, quite crazy to imagine, right? But guys, you need to know that it's very common to get struck by lightning up here in the highlands, you know? And guys, most of the potato crops are up here in the mountains, and these people, they work on them even wearing no shoes. So imagine being at this high altitude in an open field, wearing no shoes, and there is a storm. All the storms are electric up here, you know? So you very like to be hit by lightning, right? Not so like to survive, so that's why these people is very important for us. Maybe a big mole in your back, or a third nipple, or maybe a sixth finger or a sixth toe. I know those are considered bad formations in the Western world, but here they means that you are special. You know, they means that you have something that not everybody has. So this is the mark that Pachamama has put on you, you know, so you know that you have to work for her. And if that's the case, then of course you can always come here, you get the training with these people, so you can start performing these rituals for Pachamama, okay? And of course, the final one is study. Of course, we have many books about our Andean cosmovision and about all these offerings, so you can study and you can perform these rituals for Pachamama.
Cholita wrestling. Going back in. Uh-oh. It's on.
Bolivia's Cholitas luchadoras first began practicing their craft in the early 2000s when a group of women in El Alto created a circle of wrestlers inspired by Mexico's lucha libre style of wrestling. It first started as a way for females who suffered from domestic abuse to express their frustration and release stress. Publicity came from Juan Mamami, a wrestler and president of the wrestling group The Titans. They routinely attract over 1,000 spectators to their bouts in El Alto and several hundred spectators when they travel with the Titans to smaller towns.
Like the general population of El Alto, which consists almost entirely of Aymara and Quechua residents, the Cholitas are indigenous. They wear braided hair, bowler hats, and multi-layered skirts in the ring.
It's the same routine every single time. There's a corrupt referee, and the bigger, older one is always the bad one.
The Cholitas were the subject of an award-winning 2006 short subject documentary, The Fighting Cholitas. The 20-minute documentary was directed by Mariam Jabrani.
Alright, Cheeky, what's the plan today?
So, it's our second day in La Paz, and today we plan on going to some artisan markets to buy some things for friends and family, as well as for ourselves, because those llama sweaters just look so amazing. And after that, we will be just exploring some more, hanging out with friends later this evening for dinner at a place called Yai.
Cool. Do you remember the name of the hotel?
This one?
Yeah.
Hostel Iscanoia.
Cool. And we highly recommend it, right?
Highly recommend it. Awesome. It's an amazing place.
And Rodrigo is awesome too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Given us so many tips. We've had so many questions and he's been so patient.
Cool. Let's hit the town.
Let's do it.
Brenda's trying on how many?
Quite a few.
Why don't you show off your new bag, Miranda? Hey.
These are my colors.
I guess
Design is perfect.
they go with your eyes. Look at that. Los ojos.
I love it. We are at a place right now for lunch called La Murillo. We originally planned to go to another place called Bolivian Popular Food, but the line was completely out the door, so we didn't want to wait. We were super hungry. Came into this place, which was also highly recommended by Rodrigo from our hostel, so we were like, yeah, perfect. And right now we've got some coco azul, which is like made of coconuts, and we've got some Bolivian bread and some spicy sauce. I forget what they're called.
Yeah. What's special about this place, Miranda?
It's known for its quinoa. Everything is made with quinoa. I'm getting a quinoa burrito.
That's right.
There's like quinoa pancakes, quinoa cheesecake, quinoa brownies, which we are definitely having.
And quinoa pastas.
Yeah.
Cool. And this coco azul, you didn't mention, but it comes from the Amazon. It's not exactly a coconut. It's actually an Amazonian coconut. It's something similar but different. Sour. Do you want to give it a try? Good?
That's amazing. I've never tried anything like that. I can't even tell you what the flavor's like.
Let me give it a try. You see this. Okay. I'm going to give this a try. This is the guy behind the camera. Yeah, I like it.
It's unexpected, isn't it? I didn't expect it to taste like that.
Almost like pineapple.
Yeah.
So the thing I love about this place is the ingredients they use are locally sourced. So we have pretty much a lot of the local ingredients like the Andean mint in this little berry here for spice. Really, really spicy as well. And so it's kind of a fusion of traditional and modern cuisine. Oh, look at that. Muchas gracias. This is the lamb. Oh, and these balls are made of salt from Aid as well.
Alrighty, guys, look at that food.
It's really good.
Provecho, everybody. What is this place again, Miranda? Yadi. Okay, cool. She remembers all the details. So we got the Darth Vader chocolate porter from Sucre. Tristan over here is having his first Long Island iced tea. Give it a sip. Tell me what you think. We're discussing Long Island iced teas because of Miranda's heritage.
This is sweet.
It's very sweet. It's for the dog.
Because Long Islanders are sweet and strong.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make a drink that represented us as people.
So we're on Lake Titicaca, which is just over 3,800 meters, making it the highest navigable lake in the world. We've just crossed over from one side to the other via a small ferry boat, and we're waiting for our bus to come over on a kind of a rickety ferry. We're making our way to the resort town of Copacabana here in Bolivia, in the border of Bolivia and Peru, basically. And we'll be taking a ferry across today to Isla del Sol, the island of the sun, which is supposed to be the mythological birthplace of the Incan Empire. So our plan is to actually stay on the island today, do some hiking and check out some Incan ruins and beautiful beaches.
So this is Miranda's first attempt at the Inca Cola. This is the product in Peru that outsold Coca-Cola as being the #1 soft drink in Peru. Why don't you give it a try?
I'm really interested. I didn't expect it to be yellow. I don't know what I expected.
Oh yeah. There's some of that altitude gas right there.
Whoa.
Have a taste. It's gonna blow your mind. And that's what they use.
It tastes exactly like bubble gum.
It's like cream soda, right?
Bubble gum
Yeah.
in a drink.
Yeah. That's exactly what they use to keep car engines nice and clean. So we're here on Isla del Sol, the island of the sun, and we'll be hiking right now from the south side all the way up to the north side, going past the Fountain of Youth just over here, which the Spanish believed was the Fountain of Youth. Not quite sure about that, but we're hiking up what is known as the Inca Steps right now to the village of Yumani. When we get up there, we've pretty much got another 2 to 3 hour hike to our hostel, which sits on the northern side of the island, one of the beautiful beaches up there. And tomorrow we'll explore the island in a little bit more detail. So we're officially at the start of the trail, leaving the town of Yumani now. Got a little friend accompanying us. I'm actually a little bit concerned that that dog's going to follow us the whole way, so I'm going to try to get him to turn around very, very shortly. But some of the dogs here are absolutely adorable. Very, very cute. So we're going to head along the coastal route today, and then tomorrow we're going to take the high ridges and check out some Incan ruins. It's absolutely stunning already, these views. Okay, adios, perrito. Well, we've been on the trail for about an hour now, and we still have this little guy following us around. We have tried to tell him to go home a few times in English and in Spanish, and he doesn't seem to really understand either. Maybe his home is where we're going. Miranda has a theory that he's actually leading us to the northern side of the island, showing us the way. I don't know. But, you know, these island dogs, they're a little bit smarter than, you know, your average city dog that lives in a house. They know how to sort of survive. So even though I'm slightly concerned about the fact that he might have to walk home later on, maybe even in the dark, sure he'll be okay. He seems to know where he's going. So we've tried to figure out his name. We've come up with about 20 different Spanish names. He doesn't seem to respond to any of them, so we're going to stick with Perrito, which is Poppy. That's exactly what he's going to be. Miranda wants to take him home because he is so cute. He is actually really cute.
And I feel a bit special, you know, because he started following us, and there's been quite a few people on the path, but he's always stuck with us. And I just feel like we're bonded.
But he's got everything here. That's the thing. You couldn't take him home because he's pretty well looked after anyway. He doesn't look like he's starving, and he does have a collar. It just doesn't say anything on the collar. It's just a standard collar. But you know, the only thing he's really missing is a good wash. And to be honest, why would you trade a doggy bath for all of this? You know, we take dogs into our suburban homes, and they have a small little backyard. But this guy here gets to go on adventures every single day, maybe with new people, making new friends every day. This is the ultimate freedom right here. Perrito, you've got it made. Stay where you are. Never leave.
We found some piggies. Oh. Oh my God. I just want to be your friend.
He's freaked out. So we've just been walking through the town of Chala. Our little perrito friend is found himself another perrito, and now they're off running around and playing. So I think it's just us now. It's kind of crazy. This place feels so remote, yet it's actually one of the cradles of civilization, much like the Middle East or the Indus River. This is one place in the world where civilization just started out of thin air. Just saying that this kind of feels like Australia. Look at all these eucalypt trees around here. Eucalypts were imported to these areas because they grow really quickly, and in a dry, harsh environment like this one, they actually survive pretty well. So it's a good source of timber. Problem is, with eucalypts, all the river systems in the area get soaked up by the actual trunks of the trees themselves because they are made to withstand drought. So they kind of run all over the rivers dry, even though we've got a whole lake of fresh water over there. But that would be my assumption why the eucalypt trees were brought here, because they were brought to a lot of places around the world. You can hear me panting right now, and that's because we're climbing. And we're over 3,800 meters at the moment, so it's pretty damn high. It's hard just to walk even a little distance. We've left the village of Chala now, and we're going to Chaya Pempa, which is where we're staying tonight. Chala was a nice little village though, wasn't it, Miranda?
Yeah, it was. It was lovely.
Cute little kids and people. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I figured one of the reasons why the dogs probably didn't understand us is because they don't speak Spanish or English. Most of the population here in the island are indigenous, which means they probably speak Quechua or something. So I was trying the wrong language. All right, I'm going to switch this off now because I can't breathe or talk anymore. Whew. finally arrived to the village of Shayapempa, and in the background we have an entourage of sheep following us to our hostel. So we'll be staying at the, was it Wilka Kuti, I believe it is.
Something like that.
Yeah, these names are really hard to pronounce. This is a beautiful little town though. All the kids are super friendly. They've been running out and showing us their little baby dolls.
It's so sweet.
And you can see all the mules and stuff. It's kind of cool. Nice little vibe. Peaceful, right?
Very peaceful.
Until we come to town. Alright, this is home sweet home for the night, the chickie. You ready to go to sleep? That's pretty cool. That's nice. Beautiful beach. So down here we've got a pig on the beach. And up here we've got a band practicing El Condor Pasar
And before I saw a cow walking down the beach.
on the beach.
Yeah.
Cool. Only in the Andes. Only in the Andes. We're going out for dinner now, so let's check out what the local cuisine is like.
We observed Incan ruins and agricultural terraces under a spectacular Andean sunset, waiting for the stars to appear and descend upon our vision. There are over 80 ruins on the island. Most of these date to the Inca period circa 15th century AD. Archaeologists have discovered evidence that people lived on the island as far back as the 3rd millennium BC. In a place like this, we could just feel the history and significance while dreaming of an era gone by.
So this is our second day of hiking on Isla del Sol, the island of the sun. Today is our big day. We're going to do approximately 13 odd kilometers of hiking with about a 200 meter elevation gain. So we're already starting here at 3,800 meters right on the beach, which is kind of bizarre. And we'll be getting up over 4,000 meters today. We're going to see some very sacred Inca sites as well as some Incan ruins and get some great views of the island. Later on today, we'll be heading back to Copacabana. I know that name sounds familiar, but it is nothing like the Copacabana in Rio de Janeiro, the most famous one. However, it is the original Copacabana, so we'll head back there, have some dinner over at Copacabana, and then we'll make our way to Puno, which sits over there on the Peruvian side of Lake Titicaca. So we'll be crossing into Peru later on today. We were just saying that this island has a very Mediterranean sort of feel. And instead of farming things like olives and grapes, you've got corn and quinoa and potatoes being farmed here. It's actually quite warm today, and you wouldn't think being almost 4,000 meters up that it would be quite a warm spot, but we're only a few clicks south of the equator. You can see behind me here the beautiful Lake Titicaca, and it kind of looks like the ocean. It's so vast. It is not only the highest navigable lake in the world, but it is the largest lake in South America. It is all fresh water, and you can understand why the first cultures that came up here from the Nazca and the Atacama Desert, these dry and desolate deserts that sit on the west coast of South America, would have seen this as an absolute oasis. All this fresh water here, a great place to start civilization. And it is in fact considered the birthplace of civilization right here in South America. Now, everybody knows of the Inca Empire, and I did mention yesterday that the Isla del Sol is supposedly the birthplace of the Inca Empire, but there actually were other civilizations that started off before here. So in the first 1,000 years AD, we had the site of Tiwanaku that was started up by the nomadic peoples that came here to this area. The Incas came along a few centuries later, and they saw these ruins and sites, and they were able to adapt them to their own legends. So there is a legend here about the Isla del Sol itself and how it started off the Inca Empire.
The first Inca, Manco Capac, is said to have emerged from a prominent crag in a large sandstone outcrop known as Titicaca, or the Puma Rock. Manco Capac is the son of Inti, the Andean deity identified as the sun. In one version of the myth, the ancient people of the province were without light in the sky for many days and grew frightened of the darkness. Finally, the people saw the sun emerge from the crag and believed it was the sun's dwelling place. In another version, others believed the crag was dedicated to protecting the sun because the sun hid under it during a great flood. Isla del Sol was the first land that appeared after the floodwaters began to recede and the sun emerged from Titicaca to illuminate the sky once again.
Now, the next part of the trail is where we get to see a lot of the historic sites. I've actually been here before, back in 2014 on my first trip to South America. I came here to Isla del Sol and hiked out to all these areas. So this is me just taking Miranda back to one of my favorite places in South America. Sacrifice.
Oh, wow.
Underneath. El dentro, una cueva.
Bajo la tierra aquí.
Sí, sí.
Bajo la-
¿Es un templo? No, cueva?
Sí, debe ser una cueva.
No, cueva. Okay.
Ay, no, lo largo es la historia.
Okay. Perfecto, muchas gracias. Sí. Ceremonia. She was talking about this sacrificial table we have right here. Beneath the rock is apparently a cave, and that's where they used to store the sacrifices. So that's where they used to donate them to the gods. The other thing that we're going to check out as well in just a second is the Puma Rock. And I was reading the Puma Rock in the original Inca name is Titicaca. Sounds familiar. That's where they got the name of the lake. So it's named after the Puma Rock that does, in fact, look like a puma if you look at it from the right angle. So I have a feeling it's down here and we have to look back this way at this rock behind me. So the guy back there was explaining to us, and I'm going to do my best to interpret what he was saying. I need a little bit of Inca imagination right here. So this is the mouth of the puma. Okay, up there you can see one eye, and apparently there is another eye over here. And then in the back, you've got the ear, and the body of the puma is behind, so well behind. He also mentioned the fact, he was reinforcing the fact that there is a cave beneath where they stored the sacrifices, and on the other side there of the lake, that is all Peru, all along there. So that's where we'll be heading later on this evening, to Puno. Not exactly that spot, but to Peru at least. It's kind of crazy walking through ancient Incan ruins and just exploring them on our own. There is nobody else here. God, they must have been short. This is tight. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is magic. This is really cool. It's kind of like a maze or a labyrinth, you know, just going through all these rocks.
At the labyrinth of Chincana, at the birthplace of the sun, I knew with absolute certainty the brightest light in my darkest times. Here on the island of the sun, I handed her a paper bag with inside a ring enclosed. Here, I asked her to marry me.
Alright, how was that surprise, the cheeky?
Honestly, the best surprise. I did not expect it whatsoever, so it was very, very amazing.
Excellent.
After a glorious morning, the sun rose high, not just metaphorically. The journey didn't end here, as we still had a long way to go if we wanted to catch our ferry with time for a lunch stop.
Okay, so we have made it to over 4,000 meters, Chicky! Woo! We're at 4,030 meters right now, and we are officially crossing over from the northern side of the island to the southern side of the island, where we'll be finishing up today. There is a bit of a division between the two sides of the island. Back in 2017, there was actually conflict between the two sides over the misuse or potential misuse of sacred sites up on the northern side of the island. So it actually led to some blowing up of different structures and things like that down there. Not ancient ones, but I'm assuming some of the newer structures. But it led to a lot of conflict for a few years, and I think the conflict's been resolved, or at least it's simmered right down in the most recent years, at least the last year or two. So hopefully it stays that way and the conflict doesn't strike up again. I'm going to head over to the southern side, and probably within the next hour or so we'll get to the village of Umani, and that's where we'll have our lunch over there. So this is kind of the opposite of what it's been so far in our trip in South America. When I was here in 2014, I remember stopping right up here at these two buildings, and it was absolutely packed with people. We've hardly seen anyone on this island all day. Even yesterday we saw hardly anyone here. A lot of that probably has to do with the fact that up in Peru there's been some political and social instability over the last few months. It seems to have simmered down just a little bit at the moment, but a lot of people went through and cancelled a lot of their plans going to Peru. And of course, coming up from the south in South America here, this is generally the last stop before entering Peru. So it's kind of on the itinerary of most people entering into Peru. So it's going to be very interesting seeing what it's like doing the Inca Trail. They generally cap the amount of people that can go on the trail at a time, and it sells out months in advance. Miranda was saying the other day she had a look online and they still have spaces for the Inca Trail, which is almost insane. We're going in a week and they still have spaces. So this might be a quite unique and interesting experience, kind of like us traveling around New Zealand and Australia during COVID. It might be something similar to that in Peru, or maybe people are just all rushing over now that have cancelled over the last few months. Who knows? It'll be interesting to see over the next few days and next 2 weeks, really.
Soaring above, we observed a mountain caracara, a species whose feathers once adorned the crown of Incan emperors, a symbolic way to say farewell to this place of significance.
Hola. Bien, ¿y tú? ¿Podemos ver una carta, por favor? Sí. Not a bad spot for lunch.
Not at all.
A celebratory lunch. So we're having lunch in the most beautiful spot here in Yamani. It's called Paya Casa, and it's a little sort of hostel up here with a nice restaurant. We passed here yesterday and saw the restaurant sign and said we have to eat here tomorrow, so we've come down here to eat. It was a little bit more than what we actually had in our budget because we only have a certain amount of Bolivianos left, and the guy was nice enough to give us a small discount, which is absolutely lovely of him. I'm sure the food's going to be great, but even if it's not, look at this view. That is spectacular. And you're probably wondering why we're not outside, because there's a really beautiful outdoor garden there, but it is really hot right now. Just under 4,000 meters right now, and it is boiling outside. It's crazy. So this is our celebratory meal. I've got the local trout here. This is done in the local style in true Chicky fashion.
Got a chocolate chip pancake. True adults. Yeah, look at the sprinkles.
Don't you feel like an adult now?
I do, actually.
So this was the perfect place to finish our time here on Isla del Sol. It's known as Paya Casa, spelt up there. Amazing food, amazing experience. We have to rush now because we have a ferry to catch, and we have about 25 minutes to get there. And it's about 25 minutes walk, so we're gonna make our way back now. Hopefully we'll see our little puppy friend again, right? All right, we're gonna go fast. Already out of breath. Obviously this is Isla del Sol, the island of the sun, but in the background there you can see Isla de la Luna, the island of the moon.
So we rushed down here to get the 3:30 boat, which apparently doesn't exist anymore. Now there's only a 4 o'clock one, which may mean that we may miss our bus because it gets in at 5:45, and then we still need to get our luggage from the office, which is up a bunch of stairs, and we're supposed to check in for our bus 30 minutes beforehand. So I really hope that they don't leave on time. So we were really stressing out trying to get to Puno because our 6 o'clock bus was cancelled. But we did manage to find a colectivo which can take us to Puno right on time. So perfect.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, no more dramas. There were apparently some issues at the border, well, not at the border, but on the road to the border, some blockages or something that delayed and cancelled our bus. So hopefully that's not something that's happening anymore. There's been some ongoing issues around Puno lately, so a lot of the political and social issues are sort of centered around there near the border, so hopefully that's not going to cause any adherences to our journey today.
Join us on our next video as we cross into Peru, exploring the Uros floating reed islands before heading to the Incan capital of Cusco and the Sacred Valley, also hiking the phenomenal Rainbow Mountain.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed our content, please like and subscribe.
And we'd love if you could leave us a comment letting us know what you've enjoyed or what you'd like to see more of.
And help us grow our channel. Become part of the Global Travel Stories family by sharing with friends, family, or anyone you think would enjoy our content. Thanks, guys.